So we added React Native Debugger, an amazing tool, and we already can dive deeply into our app with it. Now I also want to be able to inspect Redux here. And it's super easy to do. You can go back to the React Native Debugger page, and there you find explanations on how to add the Redux DevTools. Super simple. If you enable Debug.js remotely, you already can include these things here in your Redux store connection setup to also hook in the Redux DevTools. Now it's really easy to do. Let me show you how it works. Let's go back in our project and then the configure store file where we, do configure our store. Right now we create a simple store which just gets a reducer. But as you probably know, your store can also get some middleware. And later in the course we will add middleware. To already prepare our whole setup to be able to handle middleware and the Redux DevTools, I'll use the best possible setup we can use for that. For this, I'll first of all import one other tool or function to be precise from the Redux package. It's called compose. And we can use this to basically add multiple middlewares to our store. Now what I will do is I will add a new constant here and I'll name it compose enhancers. The idea is that we can either just use the built-in compose function to add middleware to our store, or that we can use the one we get from the DevTools here, this compose function, which is basically an abstraction of this compose function, which also includes the DevTools, which of course need to be able to hook into Redux. That's why they're as deeply baked into it. So here we want to use that. And to use it, we can use a simple approach where we, first of all, turn this into a let to be able to reassign it and simply set it equal to compose. So just to the compose function. We don't gain much by that. But then I'll add a if check and I check if dev. That's a special global variable exposed to you by React Native, which is only true if you're in development mode. In this mode, I also want to connect the Redux DevTools. I don't want to do this in production because I don't want to bloat the bundle unnecessarily and possibly even slow it down. If we're in dev mode, I try to set compose enhancers equal to window Redux DevTools extension compose. Or just to compose, in case we can't fetch this because for some reason we don't have our debugger connected. Then it should fail but fall back to the normal compose function. So now compose enhancers is either the normal compose function in production mode, or in development mode, it tries to get the one exposed by the React Native debugging tools, which is simply the compose function plus the Redux DevTools, or if that fails, it still uses the normal one. Now, when we create our store, we have to create that store with the usage of compose enhancers. So there, I'll add compose enhancers like this. And to this function, we can then pass apply middleware and apply whichever middleware we want to add. This is needed because the Redux DevTools are not a middleware, but another so-called enhancer. Middleware is a different type of enhancer, so we need compose enhancers to, add multiple enhancers as one. A little bit like we used combine reducer to combine multiple reducers to one. Here I don't pass any argument because I don't have any other middlewares, but once we got more middleware, which we'll have later in the course, then this is really useful. And that's all. With that, Redux DevTools are connected. Make sure to save all files. And now if you reload your application, your DevTools should be connected. You should see the init action being dispatched. And if I now add Munich, we indeed see add place. And now we can inspect this as we always can in the Redux DevTools. You can search for Redux DevTools if you want to learn more about them. We can have a look at our action, at the state after this action, how this action changed our state, what this action looked like. We can dispatch a new action by clicking on a place, hence selecting it. You see that this changed selected place from null to our place. We can delete it. Now we dispatch delete action here too, and so on. We can do whatever we like here. We can work with this with Redux now. So this is great. Now we really have advanced debugging capabilities here, because now we can set breakpoints, use console log, dive into our component hierarchy, and also have a look at Redux. What else could you wish for?